Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to talk about one specific year, 2026, and the two completely opposite stories that are shaping up to define it.
All right, so what does a quote like that actually mean for us? Well, it means 2026 is looking like a year of really deep contradictions. And to get our heads around them, we've got to start by looking at what's happening right here on Earth. So the first big story of 2026, it's really all about division. You know, for decades, we've had this so-called rules-based order, a set of norms and institutions that kind of kept things in check. Well, analysts are saying that's all starting to come apart, and it's making the world a much more volatile and, frankly, unpredictable place.
And this is where this new term comes in, ego politics. What's that? Well, think of it like this. Powerful leaders are focusing more on their own national interests, making deals that are more transactional and less about traditional alliances. And some are worried this is leading us towards a kind of no-rules world.
And it's not just one thing, right? It's all these different trends hitting at once. We're seeing countries flex their military and economic muscle more often, even as other so-called middle powers are getting more of a say. You put it all together, and the result is this really messy, fractured global stage.
And here are some of the key hotspots to watch. The US-China relationship is, of course, the big one, with all the tension around trade and technology. At the same time, you've got these long-running conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East that the global system just can't seem to solve. And it's all feeding into this downward spiral of protectionism and weakening institutions.
Okay, so that's the picture down here. It's pretty complicated, but here's the twist. While all of that is happening, a totally different story is unfolding just above our heads. A story about ambition, about collaboration, and about pushing the absolute limits of what humans can do.
So let's completely shift gears and look up, because our second story is one of almost unbelievable progress. Seriously, 2026 is shaping up to be one of the biggest years for spaceflight in a very, very long time.
Just look at that number, 54 years. That is how long it has been since a human being traveled into deep space. It's kind of hard to believe, right? That Artemis 2 mission, it's not just another launch. It's the end of this massive half-century-long pause in our journey outwards.
And I mean, the year is just jam-packed with incredible missions. We're not just sending people around the moon. We've got robotic explorers grabbing samples from an asteroid, others studying the aftermath of our first-ever planetary defense test, and we're even finally putting a super sophisticated mission into orbit around Mercury, the toughest planet to get to.
But here's what's really changing the game. This isn't just about governments anymore. Oh no! A new commercial space race is getting seriously hot. We're talking about the world's first private space station, a massive new lander for the moon, and brand new reusable rockets. This is all about building brand new economies in space. It's a whole new ballgame.
So you might be thinking, these are two totally separate stories, right? Division down here, ambition up there. Well, not quite. In fact, they're actually starting to collide in ways that are going to define what's next for all of us, both on this planet and off it.
I mean, take the US and China. This is probably the most consequential relationship on the planet. And what's happening? The exact same competition we see in trade and tech on Earth is now being mirrored in space. A race to the moon, a race to build space stations, even a race to build the next great space telescopes.
And then there's artificial intelligence, AI, which is the perfect symbol of this whole contradiction. Down here on Earth, AI brings up all these anxieties about job losses and its use in the military. But up there, in space, it's the critical tool that lets our spacecraft navigate the solar system all by themselves and helps us make sense of the universe.
So this is what it all boils down to, right? The fundamental contradiction of 2026. It's a year where it feels like we are simultaneously pulling apart from each other, while also reaching farther out than we ever have before. A year of both fragmentation and truly historic exploration.
And that leaves us with this huge question. When we look back on 2026, which story is going to be our story? Will we let our conflicts on Earth follow us out into the cosmos? Or could our shared dream of exploration actually give us a new perspective on the divisions we face down here? The answer won't just define one year, it could very well define our future.